So here we are, one episode away from the series finale of Atlanta, and I do want to make a video talking about every season, some of the more notable episodes and all of that pretty soon before we get to the finale. So next week I'll probably do something like that, and I think it's definitely time we talk more in depth about every single season because I think that we're leading up to a very good conclusive end, and this episode was great, honestly. So let's talk about it, but before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. We are going to do a giveaway at 30,000 subscribers. As soon as we get closer to that, we'll talk more about that. But let's talk about this latest episode, which was very Al centered. So last week we had the goof who sat by the door, and we've talked about that episode already. And I see more and more people really finding that episode through TikTok, Twitter, and all of that, which is great. And I definitely do recommend Atlanta because it is one of those pieces of media that still feels like it's trying to do its own thing and not really trying to fall into a certain form of TV show that we have a lot today with TV shows trying to replicate others. Atlanta's in its own lane and it's okay with that. So I want to talk more about Atlanta, like I said, because there's so much to talk about after this series ends. But this episode was very much so our centered episode of Al, and I always love Al episodes. Let me tell you, the Woods episode was definitely one of those episodes that really got me, and by the end of it, I was in tears with Al, and I really do think that he is such a great actor, and he really portrays the emotions here very well without even speaking in some of these scenes, and he's just so great at doing that. He really conveys himself well. That's why I'm kind of excited to see the movie that he will be in, that A24 is releasing later this year. So I'll talk more about that in another video, though. Let's talk about this episode. So in this episode, we see Al in a farm-like area, and it looks like he's just trying to have a more peaceful time now. And it is such a contrast to when we last saw Al, which was at the mall shootout, which was insane. It looks like he really has taken those steps back that he's always wanted to and sort of has implied ever since the end of season 2. Sort of finding this way of fame maybe is not all that it's cracked up to be. And sort of going back to the roots and trying to really find who am I really deep down. And I think that's something that we see in this episode a lot with Al, trying to find himself and at the same time dealing with some hogs. And we know that hogs are something not to mess with, especially in the South and all of those areas and other places, of course, where there's hogs. I'm not a hog expert, but I know they're in the South for sure. And there's been a lot of incidents in my hometown, everything, even hogs killing people. So it's crazy out there. So there's this hog that's kind of like messing with Al and his stash of yes, but we're not. YouTube likes to be funny, so you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, there's this whole thing going on with that, and he's trying to figure out how to handle that. We kind of see him avoiding Ern's calls, and we don't know exactly if that's because they're not on a good page right now. Could it be something with Ern leaving? Could it be something with Al just wanting some alone time and not really dealing with any of the business or any of that? And of course, it is the latter, which we'll talk about in a bit. But we see that Al is also trying to fix this tractor, and I think the tractor really is him just trying to fix the course of life he's in as well. And it sort of gets fixed, but then it sort of like backtracks and it falls on him literally. And we see him dealing with the hog now that he's injured as well, and the hog just charged him. I was thinking we were gonna have like a little quiet, cute moment between Al and the hog, and then it just charged at him, and I was like, yeah, shit's about to go down. Luckily, he did have that iron cast skillet that he ordered, so he was able to pretty much whop it, and that was it. And so it was kind of brutal, honestly, and it sort of gave me some vibes of Triangle of Sadness, which I won't talk about because it's kind of sad, but at the same time, Al had to do what he had to do as well because there was either the hog or him, and I think that was definitely a way of Al dealing as well with a lot of the things. You could definitely say that the hog was all of this pent up anger and frustration, anxiety that he had built up, and it sort of came at him, and he pretty much dealt with that right there. He eventually does answer the phone when Aaron is calling him after this whole incident, and I just cracked up laughing when Al was just like, just chilling, and he's on the floor injured and all of this, and Aaron's just talking about contracts and all of this, and Al's just like, I don't want to even talk about this. So we pretty much assume now that the only reason that Al wasn't picking up the phone was he was just trying to relax, didn't want to hear about anything with the business and all of that. It's not that he has a problem with Ern or any of that. And we just hear this little conversation, the next thing that they're having about Al staying out there by himself and all of that, and if that's such a good idea that he can just come back to Atlanta. But of course, Al says that he just wants something more slowed down, something more peaceful, and this is what that is. And And then that's pretty much how the episode ends, with them just cracking together jokes and all of that about getting sunburn and all of that. And I thought that that was just a way to really show that Al is sort of in a better place than when we last saw him, especially during season 3, and just how like chaotic life was then. And now he's sort of trying to find that balance of really finding his true self and not being just this paperboy persona that we came to know in season 1. But slowly as the season progressed and we got into 2 and 3 and now 4, we see that this is Al. Al is more than just Paperboy, and he really wants to see who that really is. And I think that this was such a great episode where everything just culminated and he realized that there is more to him than just the personas he puts on. So very good episode. Honestly, the next episode is the season finale. Sadly, we will definitely be covering that, and maybe we'll do a live talk show talking about this season and the series as well. That's definitely something I want to plan, so we'll see what happens with that, but definitely excited for this. I think the season was great. I think that so much of the things that we explored in this season alone, and the thought about that we had 2 seasons of Atlanta this year is crazy, because both seasons just are so jam-packed with so many different themes and emotions. They feel very different and contrasting to one another. You would never think they came right after the other, but at the same time it fits so well with the way that the show has always been this sort of surrealist life view on our society. It is basically a mirror reflection of what we see in our society today, and giving you this commentary about it. So I'm gonna miss the show. I loved everything about it, and I'm excited to see how Donald Glover and Stephen Glover and everybody involved. I'm excited to see how they're gonna wrap it all up in the end. Hiro Murai came back directing in this one, and you could really tell from the shot, especially if you remember Snipe Hunt as well. So excited for the finale. Cannot wait to check it out. So much in this episode. Really love the Al episodes, and I'm just excited to see more of him in the future. And we'll see what happens. Where does Donald Glover go from here? What do they do next? Will there be a spin-off, as people are theorizing, with LA and all of that? Who knows? All I can say is Atlanta was great, and I'm excited to see how they wrap it together. But anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. We've covered all of the other Atlanta episodes, so go check out our videos as well. Make sure that you are subscribing, because we do have a giveaway coming at 30,000. Once we reach 30,000, or we get closer to that, I'll announce how that giveaway will work. And we are on the road to 50,000 now. So as always, that's going to do it for me. Check out all our other videos. We got a ton more coming for you, and I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.